guest today is a very close friend of mine and a renowned artist in New Zealand. He's performed everywhere, but not just here in India as well. And we'll hear more from him. But I'd like to introduce my very, very good friend and an awesome singer, Ashish Ramakrishnan.
Thank you. Hello.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
guys.
Ashish. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Ashish, yeah, we've worked together previously as well, and I'm very super excited to be interviewing you first time because I've never done this before.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you.
So let's start off with the hard-hitting questions, right? How come you became a singer?
My mom was a singer. Okay. My sister is a singer. तो मम की पूरी खानदानी गाती है वैसे तो मतलब ब्लड में तो था ही and I guess I was about 2.5 years old or something when they noticed I could sing and there it began.
2.5 years.
Yeah, I started singing
before
rather
talking.
humming before I started speaking.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I know the reason why I can't sing. वो खून में नहीं है मेरे को लग रहा है.
अभी बोला ना, my mom just said, your nature has to give you something.
थोड़ा inject कर देते हैं.
Inject करना पड़ेगा. So you started singing when you were 2.5, 3, or they identified that इसमें है थोड़ा potential है इसमें.
That's right. Yes.
So then from there on you started off.
Correct. It started with school competitions and intercollegiate competitions. I did my first professional show when I was 7 years old.
7 years old.
Yeah, actually an orchestra group, which wanted kids.
Right.
So I was lucky, I was in the right place at the right time, and there it began. And I used to do a lot of shows with that group, and then one group after another.
So what language were you singing that time?
I was mainly singing in Hindi, but I did quite a few shows in other regional languages as well.
Right.
So you might have traveled quite a bit in India, I'm assuming.
I did, India and abroad. When I was young, I did a lot of shows. Left, right and center.
Huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
So is this like you did a lot of shows because your family was inclined into it? So
Not really. So I happened to be in this show called Saregama, right? TV Saregama.
We want to talk about that like as a different segment altogether, but you can continue right now.
So that pretty much got me a lot more shows than I used to do before.
Right.
Yeah, that's what really happened.
Fair enough.
So I knew about this Saregama Pa when Shreya Ghoshal was here. And she introduced on stage, like for one of her shows right now, she introduced Ashish, Ashish and I go way back. We were in the same show and this and that. And I was like, oh my God, this is big. Like we've got a superstar around us. So,
me too.
So Ashish, just to give us a background. So when were you part of that show? Like what was your age at that time?
So back in 1995, I was a contestant in Close Up Antakshari. So I happened to win Close Up Antakshari.
Okay.
And that was the beginning, I would say. I came across a lot of other artists, a lot of other children who are actually well-known singers today in the industry. And then even Sonu Nigam's sister, Tisha Nigam, was part of, she was on the other team and so on. And then it was the same team that used to do Saregama as well. So 95 mein Close Up Antakshari kiya, then I was called again in 97 for Saregama, a children's episode.
So Close Up Antakshari was Close Up Antakshari, something like that.
Correct,
that one.
Anu Kapoor and Renuka Shah.
Yes.
I was in that. I was lucky enough to win that. And I got called again for Saregama in 97 because it was the same unit doing both the shows.
Right.
And then I was in Saregama. That gave me a lot more shows. People noticed me there. And it was a very popular show back then. And there weren't too many musical shows at that point in time. It was only Saregama. And that used to be widely watched in India at the time. And so I got quite a few calls from some music directors as well. And so I started working even with Babla Kanchan, Kalyan Janji and so on.
Oh, gorgeous.
So you started earning money since a kid?
I did, yes.
Wow.
So my dad used to, he ensured I have an account. There's an account.
सोने की मुर्गी, सोने का अंडा.
सोने का अंडा. So yes, मेरा पहला cycle उस account से आया, मेरा पहला video game and so on ऐसे.
Ashish, I'm keen to understand that, I want to know from you. We've both performed in so many shows together.
Yes.
We've known each other for 18 years now.
Yes, long time.
A very long time. And I have my own journey of preparing for a show. What is your journey like? When you are given a set list and you're saying, ki Ashish, you have to sing these songs.
Yep.
Some of these are duets. You have not sung with, when you're practicing, you're not practicing with
That's right.
your co-artist yet till you've hit rehearsals. What goes on in your head? How do you prepare?
Well, in terms of preparation, I first listen to the song. I start listening to the song, पहला step है tune याद करना. Now that
Yeah.
once that's in my head, I
Okay.
don't concentrate on the lyrics first. In fact, lyrics, I'm so bad with lyrics. I guess every other singer is, right? Most singers
I
are.
remember this.
So lyrics comes last. So I keep it till the last day or day before or something. And then I listen to the song over and over again, and then it registers in my mind. Then I see where I can give my small creative inputs, if there is, if I
Right.
can give any. And bus, that's a journey. I mean, it could take even 2 hours to learn a song. It could take months to learn a
Yes,
song. It's
yes.
really different.
When you're listening to the song, you're learning the lyrics also, no? Like subconsciously.
Subconsciously, yes. When you're listening to it over and over again, it gets registered in your head. But then I am quite bad at consciously putting effort and wo ratta marna
Ratta.
with lyrics.
There is a funny story about this.
Yeah.
And I think Ashish should share this with us.
Oh, there are so many funny stories with lyrics. I
Yeah.
can
Can you
keep
please
going.
tell us one?
I can keep going on and on. Lyrics, wow. So I was singing this song called Afghan Jalebi in one of the shows, right?
yes,
in the
yes, I know
recent,
that song.
I think it was about
Afghan
6-7 years ago.
Jalebi.
And so that goes, Afghan Jalebi, Mashuk Farebi, Ghayal hai tara Divana, Bhaiwa. Now I'd learned the entire song and I
Yeah.
was going to sing this live, right? Believe it or not, that's the only line I remembered in the entire song. So I started the song. This is all I remember. And I'm continuously thinking, what's the next line? What am I to sing? And unfortunately, in that moment, I was very excited. I had gotten down, from the stage. And even, I don't like to keep lyrics on stage, Of course, these days there are teleprompters and stuff. Back in the day, you had these lyrics done,
Lyric
but I
stands,
never
yes.
wanted to have them.
Yeah.
So I've never had it. So I went down. I'm right in front of the audience near the seats and all that. And I'm singing. And there's a co-singer for me, with me, thankfully. And then I asked her, I kept singing this line about 6-7 times. And then I asked, and there was some music playing. I was like, next line. And she was like, Pata nahi tumhara gana hai. I was like, oh my God, I'm stuffed. So what do? Then I said, musician, stop. Now I want the audience to sing with me. Then I sang and they sang with me. I broke that line into 4 bits and I sang, okay, main ye ga raha hu, aap ye gao, ye wo. I stretched it to 4 minutes. I finished the song there. 1 line. So embarrassing. But,
I have another one of his to share
Wow.
actually that involved me.
Okay, which one's that?
At one of the rehearsals, this guy starts singing, Savan ka mahina pavan kari sor jiara re jhume aise manma emotion jage re manma. He just couldn't get the tune out of his head.
Couldn't get it, yeah. And you can go into this loop and that keeps coming back to you again and again.
On stage.
And on stage you can end up laughing sometimes, I mean, you have to really control and
We
Yeah.
both started singing the song, and as soon as it came to, Manma, we both turned that way,
So
opposite sides.
You literally started singing that.
Almost.
almost.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
This such cool stories. Yeah, like when I listen to these stories, I'm
Yeah.
like, हाँ यार मेरे साथ भी ऐसा सब होता है. Like I'm doing something, I'm talking about
Yeah.
something, I hear a word and I'm like, okay, इसके ऊपर ये गाना है, and automatically it flows off.
Yeah.
Believe me, you'll get so many funny stories out of rehearsals and shows and all that. There's
Heaps.
so many funny moments that happen. Of course, the audience wouldn't know,
Yeah.
It's the need of showmanship of any artist to, actually
Yeah.
carry on with the show and pull it off smoothly. And the audience shouldn't realize that you're making mistakes. But we know that we are,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this
All
is something that I want to ask you now. You spoke about showmanship, and I've seen a lot of singers sing, perform, but there are very few who are actually performers.
That's right.
And by why I'm saying performers is like the ones who actually go out and interact with the audience. So how do you guys get that, or how do you manage that? Like how did you think that okay, this is something that is required, or
Well, honestly, it comes with time, I think. It comes
yes.
with practice. It has to be in your personality as well. And you need to be at ease to actually emote to the audience and, interact with them, engage them, in your performance. And that came with time. It didn't come, in a jiffy or, it didn't, I didn't start being a performer really.
Right.
It took me some time to get there. But when there's enough confidence in your showmanship, I think it comes along the way.
So, Ashish, now we've gone all over the place, but I want to understand. So, you started off doing a child show, Close Up, Antakshri, then you went to Saregamapa. You did the shows there. How did you get to New Zealand, and how did your journey in New Zealand start?
Well, I came here as a student.
As a student, okay.
Back in 2007. And one of the reasons I came here, it's very interesting. So I was back in India and I was researching, where can I go? I wanted to do my master's, and
Yeah.
I found out there are quite a few shows happening in New Zealand.
What, seriously?
Seriously, I'm
Okay.
not kidding. And I thought, okay, I made a list of these organizers. I pulled up different posters, Auckland music shows, concerts,
Really?
Bollywood. Absolutely.
Okay.
And then I noticed there's so many shows here. It's quite a close-knit community. And that was one of the reasons I chose New Zealand out of the 2 or 3 lists
So
that I
what
had.
course did you come here to study?
I
Well, it
did
doesn't
my-
matter, shows whatever matters.
But
right?
I did my master's in management systems.
Okay.
But yeah.
So you didn't research about the university, you didn't research about career
Not as much, no.
opportunities after that.
Rather research about, where can I sing? Where can I get an opportunity
Yeah.
to start doing this again,
But actually, see, this is what, passion is, right? If something
right.
is that is going to keep you going, that
Yeah.
is what you'll research for. What is the use? You go to Canada or you go to US where there's top of the universities, but then no singing,
Yeah. I think we're all very blessed, that there's this opportunity given to us here and that we are able to pursue our passion and, follow our dreams and do what we want to.
Yeah.
Of course, New Zealand, I think the beauty of living here is it gives you that opportunity to have your day job and do something that you
Yes,
like,
yes.
which may not be possible in many
Yeah.
other countries.
Yeah, to be honest, I would have never imagined doing this in India.
In India.
Yeah.
I
Um,
agree. I agree.
Yeah, maybe now times have changed and maybe now it would have been possible with TikTok
Yeah.
and Insta like
Yeah.
people are doing. But
Yeah. And
Um,
with so many organizers, so many performers here, there's like
Yeah.
an entertainment industry within Auckland, I'd
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, and that's amazing how you've recognized that and acknowledged that there is an entertainment industry in Auckland, in New Zealand, that focuses on Indian music or Bollywood or different sectors of the Indian music. And you
That's right.
yourself recently have organized a show. You put up a massive concert, and
he does concerts every second month or third
he does.
month. I
But
think, right?
this one was where he organized it himself and he produced it himself.
45
and it was,
musicians,
that's
right?
It.
Was it?
45
That's right.
musicians,
Yeah.
a
Yes.
massive symphony orchestra. Tell us a little about that. Like, when did you start planning it? What made you go, oh, this is what I want to do?
Well, it was a long time dream of mine. I was 9 years old when I actually watched a symphony concert live on TV. And I couldn't sleep that night. I was like, man, I want to do this someday.
Wow.
And
At 9 years.
I was 9 years old.
Wow.
And that stayed along. And that kept coming to me every year. And I said, someday in my life, I want to do this. And so many a times, I think it's like manifesting and putting it out in the universe, saying, I used to tell myself that someday I want to do this, someday I want to do this. You have to sometimes, manifest and write it down
100%.
somewhere.
Yeah.
It's interesting. In Wahiki Island, there's this wall, I forget where it is. It says, if there's one thing you want to do in your life, what is it? I've actually gone there and written back in
Wow.
2012 or
Really?
something. It's still there.
Wow.
It says, someday I want to do a full symphony, a concert with a full symphony orchestra.
Oh.
Wow.
And, that happened. So come COVID, I had a lot of time at hand, right? So I thought now is the time I planned for the show because I knew it's going to take me about 2 years to put this together.
Right.
And
yeah.
there we were. I was, quite happy with the way it was received.
Yeah,
And
people
I think
loved it.
we had a
yeah.
lovely time.
We had such a
Yeah.
great
Ritika
time.
was part of
Yeah.
it.
No, it was amazing. I just want to go back a little again. So 2007 you came here. I want to know, when did you first get a show here?
I came here in 2007 Jan. My first show was in June 2007.
What?
Yeah. So as soon as I landed in Hamilton,
Yeah. You had
I-
your priorities set.
I had my priorities set.
He had
I was
researched, remember?
I can go to college later. Let me first Google out. I started calling some of the organizers, and I remember there was one concert happening in June around the time, and I called up that organizer saying, I can see a poster on Facebook or Orkut or somewhere it was.
Yeah.
I said, this show is happening. I'm actually a singer. I've just come from India, and I'd like to start performing here. I just found your number online, and that's why I'm giving you a call. He said, very nice that you called me. Please don't tell anyone you're here, and mujhse milna pehle. And I went and spoke with him, and he said, you're going to be singing in my show. That's how it
Wow.
started.
Wow.
And then I did one after the other, and yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, like,
What a journey,
And when
right?
did you get your first job?
You're trying to match the two.
October 2007.
तो ये
Right.
पहले आया.
पहले
Singing
singing.
पहले
Singing
आया.
pehle aaya.
ढूंढा जो पहले वो पहले मिला ना.
सही बात है.
Manifestation.
Yeah,
Manifestation,
correct.
I know.
Correct.
Right. So, talking about the scene today,
Yeah.
what is your take on Auckland's music or New Zealand's music scene for Bollywood?
I think it's been changing over the last few years. The need of the hour is quite different. It's quite fresh, unique concepts like the symphony concert, that we did. They are being, organized for the audience. I think people are looking for something different And thankfully, many of the organizers have started, doing something different and putting out different shows for the audience, and they've started receiving it quite well. And now sky's the limit, right? I mean, all your creative ideas now's the time to get them all out and do the show that you want.
Absolutely. And just for any budding performers, singers, musicians, or even stage managers that are watching or listening to us right now, what would be 3 top things that you would suggest to them if they want to get into this field in Auckland?
Well, one, of course, you must have the talent,
Okay.
It
Strike
starts with that. Well, yeah.
Not applicable.
So once you have the talent, of course, get in touch with any of the organizers. There's so many music schools here. Thankfully, you can learn from, one of the music schools. Her mom runs, Sandhya ji runs a school herself. Learn from them, come contact the organizers. A lot of these musical schools, they have their own gigs as well. They give an opportunity to the students for them to perform. Plus, if you're really talented, any organizer would pick you up. It's quite simple. Yeah.
Right.
It's not very tough. I'm sure our phone numbers are everywhere on the internet. And you can find us easily.
Awesome. Well, Ashish, it's been great talking to you.
Likewise,
Listening to
thank
your
you.
experience.
Thank you.
And I think our listeners, people who are watching us, might have really learned something new about you today.
I hope so. Thank
I
you.
have too, even after knowing you for so many years. I still have learned something new about you.
Yeah.
We've enjoyed this.
To be honest,
haven't
20
we?
minutes are not enough, but
I know.
but we really hope that we can get you back on
Thank
and uncover a few more stories about your experiences that have happened behind stage, and wish you all the best for your future upcoming projects.
Thank you so much. And I'm really happy that you guys got me here. Thank you for having me. And I'm really happy that you guys are doing this. I mean, someone needed to.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy you guys
I'm
are.
glad to be a part of this, being non-singer. Hopefully this gives me some more inspiration and get into singing.
There's something called auto-tune. We'll talk about it after the
Okay,
show.
yeah.
You can be a singer
As long
too.
as you launch me, I'm okay with it.
Is there something called an auto podcaster? Because I've never done this before. So I'm learning from Rizbe now. So is there something called like an auto podcaster?
No,
where
you're
you-
great. Yeah, I think you're
Think
like a pro.
You're a
Please.
pro, yeah. You're
You're
natural.
natural. Yeah.
That doesn't help you sing here by saying that. That's okay.
Usually actually, I start all my podcasts, like the podcast that I used to do, I used to always start them by singing. But now I can't dare do that. Because if I do that, you're like, hey, job's gone. But amazing,
Awesome.
yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Pleasure.
Ashish.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Backstage Nonsense. This is me, Rizbe, and I've got Ritika here. So if you like this episode and if you want to hear more, let us know in comments. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast from, you can listen to us there. But along with that, if you want to listen to some good quality concert, good quality show in Auckland, in New Zealand, on the 6th of May, save the date, because that's when we're going to have our show, which is called
A cassette in a Walkman.
A Cassette in My Walkman. Do check it out. The tickets are going live soon. And we'll see you next week with yet another episode in
Yes.
Backstage Nonsense, where you get to know the nonsense that's happening behind the stage.
Yeah. And on the last and final note, there are lots of concerts happening in Auckland. So please make sure you support each and every one of them to the best of your ability.
We need that.
Yeah, for sure. Bye.
Bye.